Welcome to Parental Alienation and Narcissism by J. Claude McDaniel. This program is to help you heal and navigate through the hardships associated with narcissistic alienation. Please like and subscribe.
Welcome to episode 16. My name is J. Claude McDaniel, author and victim of alienation. I share my experiences, education, and provide valuable information that I hope will help you navigate through your plight. In this episode, I take you through the most important aspects of attending remediation conferences. In Part A, you must stay focused and calm. In Part B, you must demonstrate that you are the stable parent. Part A, staying calm and focused. The conference room felt colder than usual. Alex sat quietly with a notepad in front of him. Across the table sat his former spouse. Within minutes, the complaints began. One accusation after another. Claims about the past. Questions about your parenting. Comments designed to put you on the defensive. Years earlier, Alex would have reacted. He would have interrupted. Defended himself. Argued every point. Tried desperately to correct every inaccuracy. But today was different. Before the meeting began, he had written 3 simple words across the top of his notebook. Stay calm. Stay focused. Stay true. Those words became his strategy. One of the most important lessons Alex learned about mediation is that it is not simply a test of facts. It is also a test of emotional regulation. Mediators listen to what people say, but they also observe how people behave, how they respond under pressure, how they handle disagreement, how they manage frustration. In many cases, behavior speaks louder than arguments. That is why emotional control becomes one of the most powerful tools available. Alex expected difficult statements. He expected exaggerations. He expected disagreements, because expecting them reduced their power. Instead of reacting emotionally, he took notes. When something inaccurate was said, he simply wrote it down. Rather than interrupting, he waited. Rather than arguing, he prepared his response. And when his opportunity arrived, he spoke calmly. I would like to clarify that point. I have documentation that addresses that issue. I'd appreciate the opportunity to respond. Short. Professional. Controlled. The goal wasn't to win every exchange. The goal was to maintain credibility. Another lesson Alex learned was the importance of staying focused on the purpose of mediation. It is easy to become distracted by old conflicts, old grievances, old frustrations. But mediation is not about reliving the past. It is about creating a path forward. Whenever conversations drifted toward personal attacks, Alex redirected his attention. Back to the children. Back to their needs. Back to practical solutions. That shift in focus changed the entire tone of his participation. Instead of sounding defensive, he sounded constructive. Instead of sounding angry, he sounded invested. And that distinction mattered. The more Alex focused on solutions, the more he demonstrated stability. The more he demonstrated stability, the more credibility he gained. By the end of the session, Alex realized something important. Staying calm doesn't mean remaining silent. It means choosing your response instead of reacting automatically. It means remaining focused on your purpose instead of getting pulled into distractions. And in mediation, that difference can be powerful. In Part B of this episode, we'll explore how Alex used honesty, documentation, and cooperation to strengthen his credibility and present himself as a reliable and stable parent. Part B, presenting yourself as a stable parent. As mediation continued, Alex discovered something that surprised him. Perfection wasn't the goal. Credibility was. Many parents enter mediation believing they must appear flawless. That every mistake must be denied. That every criticism must be challenged. But Alex learned that honesty often carries more weight than perfection. When difficult questions arose, he answered them directly. If he had made mistakes in the past, he acknowledged them. Briefly. Without excuses. Without defensiveness. He focused on what he had learned and how he had grown. Because growth demonstrates maturity. And maturity demonstrates stability. The next session involved documentation. Alex had spent months organizing records. School communications. Schedules. Receipts. Medical appointments. Messages. But he learned that mediation is not the place to overwhelm people with paperwork but to have it on hand if it was needed. The strongest evidence is often the most relevant evidence. Instead of presenting stacks of documents, Alex focused on key examples that supported important points. When necessary, he calmly noted that additional documentation was available. This approach kept the conversation focused and professional. Most importantly, it prevented him from appearing argumentative. Alex also learned how to respond to accusations without becoming defensive. When statements were inaccurate, he didn't react emotionally. He simply responded with facts. That is not consistent with my records. I respectfully disagree with that characterization. I have information that may help clarify that issue. Simple, respectful, factual. Every response reinforced the same message. He was calm, prepared, and focused on solutions. Perhaps the most important skill Alex developed was demonstrating cooperation. Even when disagreements existed, he looked for opportunities to show flexibility. Not weakness, flexibility. He emphasized his willingness to support schedules that benefited the children. His willingness to communicate respectfully. His willingness to work toward practical solutions. Mediators often look for parents who can put the needs of their children ahead of personal conflict. Every statement Alex made was designed to reinforce that principle. The result wasn't dramatic. There were no breakthrough moments, no dramatic victories, but there was something more valuable: consistency. Throughout the process, Alex presented the same message. He was involved. He was reliable. He was prepared. And he was focused on the well-being of his children. That consistency strengthened his credibility far more than any emotional argument ever could. The lesson from this episode is simple. Mediation is not about being the loudest person in the room. It is not about winning every disagreement. It is not about proving someone else wrong. It is about demonstrating who you are as a parent. Through your words, through your behavior, through your preparation, and through your commitment to your children. When you remain calm under pressure, speak honestly, use documentation wisely, and stay focused on solutions, you communicate something powerful. That you are a stable, reliable, emotionally present parent. And sometimes, that message is more persuasive than any argument. As this story continues, we'll examine what happens after mediation ends, how to apply practices you have learned. This ends episode 16 of my videos. Episode 17 will delve into practices after remediation, evaluating the mediator's report, dealing with the children and the opposition, honoring and enforcing recommendations. Thank you for reviewing my site and listening to this episode. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It helps this valuable site to grow and spread sound educational information. Sincere thanks, J. Claude McDaniel.